You might have heard of RAG before, and it stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation, and it's a way to give AI agents a brain and a knowledge base of any specific thing that you want them to know about. This is a feature that has become necessary if you want to build AI agents that are actually useful. And so today I want to show you how you can quickly set up a RAG agent that can be used for customer support and can answer any question that you may have in your website, or if you're offering to a business, that business's website. So this is what the whole workflow looks like in the agent. But before that, we need to go over some important concepts. I would quickly want to give you guys an overview of what RAG is and how it works. So RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation, as I mentioned before. And basically what it does is it grabs a bunch of documents which can be in different formats. As like, for example, here I have a PDF or a text or even an image that can be uploaded into a vector store or a vector database. A vector database is a database that is able to hold this information in different chunks. So for example, if I go and zoom in here, in this example, we have a vector store. And if you take a look, concepts that are related to each other are stored together. So for example, here we have animals and they're stored together. And over here we have fruits. Pretty simple, but it's important to understand the process in getting these documents into a vector store because it can be a little bit confusing and technical, but we'll make it very simple. In our case, we're going to be using a text file, and the process is as follows. We are going to grab that text file, and then we're going to split it into different chunks. Chunks, it just means different segments of the document, and you're able to customize the length of your chunks. So for example, it can be a chunks of 500 words or just 100 words. Then once it's separated into chunks, we need to embed it using an embedding model. And what this really means is just converting it into a format that can be stored into a vector store. So for example, OpenAI has its own embedding model, which I think is the one that we're going to be using. And then once it's embedded, it's going to be uploaded into the vector store. So to quickly show you how we're going to do this today, I'm going to be using an example of a company, just a random company that I find on the internet. I'm going to go ahead and grab the information from the website and create an agent that's going to be a customer support agent. And the idea is that it's going to be able to answer any question that might have an answer in the website. And for that, we're going to be using Firecrawl. And this is just the first step, which means we're going to be scraping the website. Firecrawl is a very good tool in order to scrape websites. What we're going to be doing is that we're going to be crawling it. And what that really means is scraping every single URL inside a website. So let's say you have your homepage, you have your about page, you have your support page, everything's going to be scraped. And the cool thing about Firecrawl is that it puts it into Markdown, which, as I've mentioned before, it's just a better format for LLMs to understand information. So for that, we're going to be doing that through their UI. And then we're going to be creating an automation that's going to be used to import those documents into Google Drive. Then we can go ahead and upload those documents into Supabase. Supabase is going to be our vector store. And there are multiple other vector stores such as Vectorize or Pinecone. I just chose Supabase because they have a free version and it's not too complicated to set up. And after that, we're going to create a separate automation, which is just going to be an agent inside Telegram. So let's go ahead. So the first thing you want to do is you want to come over into Firecrawl and you want to create an account. They're going to give you some free credits. That's going to be enough for you to at least test this and get it up and running. But once you created your account, you're going to go into Playground. As you can see over here, I have Playground. And so I've already scraped the website. And basically what I did is I searched up a random business here in Arizona that does roofing. And so the idea is that we're going to grab this homepage. And then what Firecrawl is going to do is going to click through each one of these websites and it's going to scrape them and get all the information. So the idea is that if I were to ask my agent about the referral program that they had, the agent should be able to answer this or something similar. So all I did was I came over to Playground, I pasted the homepage, I made sure that I was on crawl mode, then my format's going to be Markdown, and I hit on start crawling. Then you can see that results was 10. This means that it scraped through 10 different pages, which were all those pages and others that were on the menu. And so here's each one of them individually. But then what I did is I came over here and I downloaded the Markdown. And so then what this did is it downloaded every single file separately. So if I click on one of these, it's just the text of that specific website that got scraped. So what I want to do is I want to come over to Google Drive. I've already set up a folder and I'm just going to import all of these together in there. And now that you had that, you want to go back into N8N. So I've already set up that Telegram trigger, but I'm going to dive deeper into this later. For now, we're going to build the automation that's going to upload everything into our vector store. So you want to search for Drive, and the operation that you're going to want to use is search files and folders. And then you're going to see that there's an option to search using a query. We don't really want to use that. We want to hit on return all, look for the folder, tutorial website info. And if I hit execute step, you can see that it returned 10 different items. And if I hit in table, it's just going to be every single site that got scraped. So now with that, we want to go ahead and download them. And I'm just going to add a manual trigger here just so that we can test it a little bit easier later on. But very simple. I'm going to pin this and hit download, or sorry, look for Drive. then download file, and then we can hit URL. We're going to drag the ID. And if I hit execute step, it's going to download those 10 files. So if you see over here, we have all the different ones separate. So we're going to add a Supabase vector store step, add documents to vector store, and we're going to go over how to create our credentials. So you're going to go into Supabase and then you're going to create an account. I'm going to go into my dashboard because I already have one. And what you want to do is you want to create an organization and then a project. So if I click here, I can name this project something like a RAG tutorial, and then give this a password. It's important that you store the password because you might be needing it later. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a password and then create the project. And it looks like it's already set up. So you're gonna go into your project settings, then go into data API, then you're gonna find your URL in there. So you're gonna copy that, come back into init, create a new credential, paste your host there, go back into Supabase, go into API keys, and here's where you're gonna have your service role secret. You're gonna hit on reveal, you're gonna copy it, and then you're just gonna paste it. Now you're gonna rename this whatever. And now our credential has been set up, as you see. Now we're gonna create the table. As you see, we don't have any tables yet. So for that, you wanna go into the documents. And here's gonna be like a document on how you can create a vector store. But really the only thing you gotta do is you gotta scroll down, hit on quick start for setting up your vector store. It's gonna take you to a Supabase documentation where you can see a code that's in SQL. You wanna copy that code, go back into Supabase, then SQL editor, hit paste, and then hit run. And so once you run the code, you'll get this message down here that says success, no rows return. And if you head into database, you're going to see there's a new database called documents that was created. This is our vector store that we're going to be using to upload all our documents into. So let me go back into init, and now I can look for that document. And there we have it. This is the table that just got created. And now there's two things we want to do. We're going to add an embedding model. For this, we're going to be using OpenAI. Connect your credentials. So if you don't know how to connect your credential, you're going to go into platform.openai.com. You're going to log in. You're going to go into API keys. You're going to create a new secret key. Give that a name. It's going to give you a key. You're going to come back here and you're just going to paste it in there. Hit save, and then you'll have your credentials set up. The model, we're going to leave it as text embedding 3 small. That should work just fine. And now we want to add a data loader. So this is going to be what's going to be chunking our documents into different sizes. In this case, we're going to be inputting binary. Since if we look over here and I run download file, we're going to be getting different binary documents as output. There we have it, our 10 text files. So our mode is going to be input all data, and then data format, we can just do plain text. Text splitting is going to be simple, which means splits every 1,000 characters with a 200 character overlap, which is fine. And now we can run this. So I'm going to hit on execute workflow, and it's going to start uploading everything into the vector store. So I did run into a problem, which was that I didn't realize, but the files that we uploaded into Google Drive were all in Markdown format. So if we take a look at the type of file over here, it says text/Markdown. And this is a problem because Supabase doesn't let us upload Markdown files themselves into the vector store. So we need a way to convert them into text. So the way of doing this is by using an extract from file node, which is a native init node. You just want to make sure that your input binary field is data and that the output is also data. And after that, you're going to be using a convert to file. This is going to convert it into text/plain, which is just a text file that's going to be able to be uploaded into our vector store. And then you should be all right. And after that, I just hit execute workflow and I went back into my data store and everything's in here now. As you see, there's like 100 rows with all the information and the different embeddings here and all the content from what was scraped in Firecrawl. So now we can go ahead and move on and build our AI agent. This is going to be very simple and very quick. So first thing first, we're going to have it connected into Telegram, for which we're going to be using a Telegram trigger. This is just for the sake of the demonstration. It could also be connected into like SMS or WhatsApp. It's a little bit trickier to get SMS or WhatsApp approved since you have to go through like an A2P approval to prove sort of that you're not spam. But in this case, we're going to be using Telegram because it's very easy to set up. So really quick, in order to set up a bot or a chat inside Telegram, you have to go into this website, which is just telegram.me/botfather. I'm going to be linking it down in the description. But you're simply going to click on start bot, and what's going to happen is it's going to open Telegram, and this is what it's going to look like. It's going to automatically do /start, and then what you want to do is you want to click on new bot. That's going to get sent, and then you're going to give your bot a name. Just make sure that it ends in bot, otherwise it's not. It's going to ask you to change a different name, and then you're going to get an API key. And what you're going to do is you're going to copy that in API key, and then you're going to go into init. Look for the Telegram trigger, which is get a message or trigger a message, and then you're going to create a credential, input the access token, and then you should be all set. So now If, for example, I was to test this, I can go into Telegram, send a message to the bot, say hi, hello, send it. And you can see that we receive this over here. So the idea is that we're going to be receiving the query from the user and then we're going to respond back to it. So in order to do that, we're going to be using an agent. And then we're going to be defining the prompt below. We're going to have a system prompt, which is going to build our main prompt. Using Claude, I created a prompt for a simple AI agent that's going to be using RAG. So I'm just going to copy and paste it over here. And we're going to quickly skim over it. So roofing company, customer service RAG agent. When information is available, answer it using the whatever is being returned from Supabase. If the answer is not available, it's just going to provide the contact information. It's quite a bit long for what I actually asked for, but we'll test it out. So the prompt is going to be user message. And then we can just map this over here, which is going to be our text. Then we want to add a chat model. We can use 4.1, should be okay. 4.1 mini. We're going to add a memory, just a simple memory. And what this is going to allow us to do is to use a key, which is going to be our chat ID. And this pretty much just means the unique ID that Telegram gives to the user that's text in the agent. And then we're going to give a context window length of like 10. This basically means it's going to be gathering the 10 previous interactions and use them as context. And our tool, we're going to be using Supabase Vector Store. We're going to choose the table name, which is just going to be documents. And then we can include a description like use this tool to find information about the company. That should be okay. Embedding, we're going to be using OpenAI again. Should be model 3, I believe. 3 small, that should be okay. That's going to generate an answer. So if I pin this and I run this, then we'll see it says, hello, how can I assist you with your roofing needs today? So I'm going to add a Telegram note at the end over here. This is just going to be sending the message back. So here, send a text message. And then chat ID, we're just going to map that from the beginning. And we're just going to send over whatever the agent says, so their output. That should be all good to go. So I'm going to unpin this and I'm going to listen for information. I'm going to go back here into the website for the roofing company. So I'm going to ask about their referral program. So how does your referral program work? Send that. Should be getting an answer really soon. I'm going to go back into N8N just to make sure everything's running smoothly. So you can see it's talking to the vector store, which is great. And then looks like we got an answer. Our referral program at Scott Roofing Company rewards you with referring friends and family to us. You can receive $500 after your referral. So let me go back over here. You can see that's just what it says over here, which means it's actually saved into the vector database. So now you can see that it says down here, this message was sent automatically with N8N. We need to get rid of that, unless if you want to do free marketing for them, but they like sneaking it in here. So before you ever launch anything in production, just make sure you get rid of that. And so now I'm going to ask something like, let me schedule an appointment. And then it should be giving me like, either redirecting me to the website or giving me a phone number that I can call. Hey, I would like to schedule an appointment. Actually, I forgot to run this, so let me say that again. Oh, never mind. So here we have it. I'll be happy to help with that. It gives me the phone number and the information email. And so you can see how this can become very powerful if you were to add like a tool for it to actually book appointments into your calendar or your CRM. This would be super great. And it would pretty much be a appointment setting agent, which has all the information about your company, which is great. As you see, it's not a very complex setup, and running this is not very expensive either. Supabase has a free plan, which is what I'm using right now. And it's enough if your website is not very long. And also the tokens that you're using in OpenAI are not going to be very huge. So yeah, that's pretty much how you can set up a customer support agent for your company or someone else's company. So in the description, I'm going to leave a link for you to download the blueprints. And I'm also going to put in the resources in order for you to connect your Google API keys and also the link to set up the Telegram bot. If you find this video helpful, or if you have any ideas or want to see me build something specifically, please leave it down in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video. Thanks.